随分とブサイクな研究だよ。
A young boy with powers to control blue flames transferred to a high school. Hello and welcome back to our channel Ice Guy. Today we are going to do a recap of the anime series called Code Breaker. Episode 1. The episode starts with the main character, Sakura Koji, is a high school girl taking the bus home at night. But on the way, looking outside, she sees a young man burning several people in the park. She panics and asks the driver to stop, then gets off the bus to tell the police on patrol what she saw. Hearing that there was a murder nearby, the police went to the park that Sakura had pointed to, but they found nothing and no one there, let alone a young man lashing out with blue flames. The next day at school, Sakura went about her day as usual without reminding anyone at school of the strange incident from last night. But to her surprise, her homeroom teacher introduced the transfer student even before the start of study. And the new student who claims to be Agami Ray looks just like the boy she saw last night. When the girls in the class saw a new student with a face they thought was attractive and cool, they were suddenly excited. Sakura was the only one who looked at him suspiciously, fearing that the school had just accepted a criminal as their student. She was sure that Agami was the person she saw yesterday, the same person who burned those poor people with blue flames. To prove her suspicions, during recess, Sakura approached Agami and asked him to speak privately on the school roof.
ありがとうございました。ありがとうございました。次。
Citing that she had something important to talk about. But this caused the other students to misunderstand. They thought that Sakura would confess her love to the transfer student. Sakura herself is a popular student at school. She was gifted with intelligence and said to have a beautiful face, which made her the center of attention of the students at school. In other words, the students think she is the perfect girl, so it is no wonder that many boys fall in love with her. With her popularity, all the students flocked to the roof of the school. They wanted to witness the rare moment Sakura confessed her love to a boy, especially since the boy had just transferred to their school. And so Sakura started talking to Agami. But unlike what the students think, Sakura wanted to question him about his alibi last night. So she asked him where he was last night and what he was doing then. To which Agami casually replied that he was working part-time last night, but Sakura still couldn't believe him. She looked at the glove that Agami had on and thought that he must have put it on to cover the burns after killing those people last night, so she told him to take off his glove. And once again, Agami can prove his innocence. Unfortunately, Sakura couldn't find any burn marks on his hands or anything to confirm her suspicions. All she found was Agami, who had a ring on his thumb.
もう二度とそういう。はい、それだけです。
しかし、さくら、どうしたの？
Some rumors were going around, but Sakura didn't seem to care too much about the rumors about her. She is too focused on Agami, whom she believes to be a criminal and is determined to uncover his true identity. That's how Sakura begins the pursuit of Agami, and he does it with all his heart. He watches over Agami when he plays basketball, even when he gets wet and the stars twinkle around him. She watches him as the other girls say goodbye to him after school, and she was still watching him as he took his shoes from the school locker. All of this made Ayaba more and more convinced that Sakura was crazy about Agami, and she said so directly when she caught Sakura watching Agami from behind the locker. Sakura replied, yeah, she couldn't take her eyes off him. Because Ayaba is talking to Sakura, he loses Agami. But she still didn't give up. She kept trying to find him, hoping he hadn't gone far. But unbeknownst to her, Agami realized that Sakura was watching and behind him all the time. So when she was distracted by Ayaba, Agami used it to hide from her. A little later it was evening and Sakura still hadn't found Agami. So she returned to the park because she heard that criminals always return to crime scenes. If that was true, she thought she might find Agami there. But then Sakura remembered that she had visited the park several times to feed a stray dog named Inu. She also met a dog, this time the one she fed rice balls. At this moment, when the dog was in the middle of devouring the food, Agami suddenly appeared. He secretly watched Sakura kindly feed Ine, prompting him to interact with the dog. To her surprise, Agami the dog is not afraid at all. She even seems to like him and licks his face like he is her master. Sakura gasped at the sight in awe as she knew it was not easy for Ine to bond with strangers. So if a dog behaved like this towards Agami, she thought maybe he wouldn't be a bad person. Also, Agami seems to be an animal lover, and those who like animals are usually good people. Sakura stopped dreaming when Agami asked if she was the owner of the dog.
だから誰も裁くことができない。
あなたが正義となって、鉄よ。
誰にも知られずに死ん。
She denied it, saying that the dog has no owner. The last master he was killed right in this park by gangsters who call themselves G Falcon. A few days later, Sakura returned to the garden to feed Ina when she heard someone screaming for help. The scream turned out to be from a homeless man being tortured by G Falcon members, Sakura, who couldn't to endure the cruelty. He tried to stop them and threatened to call the police if they didn't stop beating the homeless. But this threat only made the gangsters laugh because they were not afraid police. Instead of running away, they threatened her back. Realizing she had to do something to stop them, Sakura defeated them outright. And luckily she's good at Aikido thanks regularly practices in the school club. Her Aikido skills are as good as her reflexes. It was difficult for her opponents to subdue her, even when outnumbered. But no matter how good Sakura is in martial arts, she can't fight against so many enemies, especially after one of them, the gang members, use a sneaky way to shock her with a stun gun. Not only that, they even want to doing horrible things to her. Seeing this, the dog Inu tried to help Sakura by biting the enemy, but this rescue attempt instead made Inu the target of torture by the thugs. They beat him mercilessly to the extent that the dog was seriously injured. At this point, it was Sakura's turn to protect, but there was nothing she could do about her current state. The thieves beat her again until they got tired of her, but before they could kill her, Ogami suddenly appeared near Inu. Then he checked the dog's condition and, realizing the serious injuries, decided to put it down. Then, with a cold expression on his face, he took off the glove covering his left hand and burned one of the gangsters with blue flames. The death of their partner infuriates the whole gang. A moment later, they looked at Ogami and tried to swallow him, but Ogami calmly raised his left hand again and he burned them all until their bodies burned to ashes. For the second time in the past few days, Sakura saw yet another scene where Ogami was burning people with his strange power. Her suspicions had been right all along. Ogami was the young man she had seen the other day. And now as he walked slowly towards her, he placed his left hand on her face and said in a low voice, "Burn." Instantly, a blue flame came out of his hand and burned Sakura alive. But surprisingly, Sakura woke up.
仲良くする。
Episode 2. The next day, Sakura woke up and was already in her house. She still remembers the incident from last night, even though Rei was about to burn her alive until she was traumatized by the incident. When Sakura arrived at school, she saw Rei touching the shoulder of her friend named Aoba, so she thought Rei was going to burn her. Rei then whispered to Sakura that if she revealed his identity, he would burn all the students in the school. Intermission came. Sakura was having lunch with Aoba, but she felt someone watching her and turned to the window. She saw that Rei was there and asked Aoba to stay away from Sakura for a while without explaining why. When school time came, Sakura immediately approached Rei and said that what he did was a bad action. Rei didn't care because he felt he was doing the right thing, which was eradicating criminals. Rei then tried to burn Sakura, but she managed to dodge and run so that only her bag burned. People were shocked to see what happened. It turns out that Rei just wanted to make Sakura panic, saying that she's a rare person that he can't burn with his blue firepower. Rei repeats that his job is to kill criminals in Japan called code breakers. He explains that his organization is supposed to be an impunity judge, so if the police can't punish criminals, code breaker will kill them. On the riverbank, a man named Hitomi is going to kill a man in a suit.
未来の君が率先してやってくるなんて、最初に来るのは大神くんだと思っていたよ。
Episode 3. Until he is immediately attacked by a male code breaker member named Tempo and Yuuki. Then a man named Yukihina came who had the power of ice to help Hitomi escape from Yuuki's presence. The next day at school, Aoba and the other students think that Sakura and Rei are lovers because they are always seen together and care for each other. While Sakura and Rei were away, a woman named Fujiwara Nin approached Sakura. Nin accidentally opened her glasses and saw that the colors of her two eyes were different. When Rei saw Nin's eyes, he wanted to burn them because he remembered someone. But he didn't. In the afternoon at the park, Rei gave Sakura a white puppy, which turned out to be the puppy of the dog that died yesterday. Saddened, Sakura promised to take care of the puppy until it grew up. Sakura then joined Rei in fulfilling his duties as a breaker. Rei invites Sakura to go to the Yakuza headquarters and burn them to the ground. Yakuza sold drugs and kidnapped a family. There were even police officers who joined them and protected them. Rei immediately burned them all with his blue fire, while Sakura could only be stunned when she saw what happened.
お前が戦っていることはわかる。私は認めることはできん。だからわ
Afterwards, Sakura immediately hugged Rei to calm him down. But Rei instead passed out Sakura with her power. Rei immediately called someone to bring Sakura back to her house because he was going to kill the police chief who was working with Hitomi. When Rei was about to burn the police chief, a codebreaker man named Fujiwara Toki came before him to burn the police chief. Episode 4, on the other hand, Sakura woke up and was already in front of her house with the puppy. The next day, Sakura's parents asked why she passed out twice in front of the house. But Sakura was reluctant to answer their questions and immediately left for school. When she opened the front door, she saw that Toki was already about to pick her up. As the two were walking, Toki told her that he and Rei were close friends. They were sitting in the park and Toki tried to touch Sakura. Suddenly Rei came and beat him, but Toki managed to block his attack. The two continued to fight with their power, but Sakura grabbed both of their hands to stop it, so they stopped and went to their respective schools. Suddenly, Toki meets Sakura at her school. He wants to explain to Sakura that each member of the Code Breaker has their own goals. Toki went to school because he wanted to watch over Nin and take care of her because she didn't know she had a younger brother. At night, Sakura goes with Rei and Toki to do her duties because Sakura wants to keep an eye on Rei's movements. They headed into a closed building using an iron door, but Toki easily opened it with his magnetic power. When they entered, many people shot bullets at them and two men had strength and attacked them both. And that's all for today, guys. If you liked the recap and want more summaries like this, consider subscribing to our channel.